talk about a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Last year at the 2024 Bitcoin conference, Donald Trump mentioned that if elected, he would secure a Bitcoin strategic reserve for the US government, meaning over the course of 5 years, the US government would buy 1 million Bitcoin. That is roughly 4.75% or 5% of the total supply that will ever exist. That's a pretty big deal, right? Like that's a pretty big deal. Why is this significant, and how does this affect the price of Bitcoin, and how does this affect you if you are a owner of Bitcoin? Let's discuss that in this video. And if you're a skeptic of Bitcoin, well, perhaps by the end of this video, you will be an even bigger skeptic. Who knows? Let's get into it. Now, what is a strategic reserve and why is it important? Well, a strategic reserve is essentially it's an emergency fund. It's a stockpile of resources to protect the government or the nation against any kind of crises like economic uncertainty, national security, or public health. It consists of essential resources that are maintained by the government or a government entity. It includes, but is not limited to, gold, foreign currencies, electricity, coal, gas, oil, food reserves, medical supplies, and the list goes on. These reserves are typically released in the event of an emergency. So we can all conceptualize what having an emergency fund is like. You know, you have 6 months of emergency funds, you have 12 months of emergency funds. Why? In case you lose your job, in case of an emergency, in case of something medical that happens to you. Who knows? You don't know. The whole point is to have a reserve of funds or resources in the event of an uncertain future. So who knows what can happen in the future, but it's always good to have an emergency fund or a stockpile of resources in the case of the US government. Okay, now let's address the skeptics. I understand why something like gold or oil, for instance, would be stockpiled by a government agency or a nation because, well, they're tangible items, they're tangible assets. But why Bitcoin? Bitcoin has been observed over the last 15 years, and I think it's pretty safe to say that it has passed the proof of concept test. Bitcoin is the scarcest asset in human history by an inconceivable margin. There are only ever going to be 21 million coins ever in existence. Not 21 million and a half, not 22 million, not 30 million, not, oh, we're running out of Bitcoin, let's just print some more, oh, let's just go mine some more Bitcoin. No. 21 million, that's it. And every single asset that you could possibly think of, whether it be oil, real estate, equities, stocks, bonds, the whole 9 yards, they are all going to be trending to zero over a long enough time horizon when denominated in Bitcoin. But the most important property that gives Bitcoin its incredible value is the scarcity. People just don't understand how incredibly scarce this asset is. And it also has a predictable issuance schedule at the protocol level. Okay, now what are the implications of a Bitcoin strategic reserve? Like, who cares? Well, I mean, what happens when the leader of the free world decides that he wants to buy 5% of the Bitcoin supply that will ever exist? You think people and nations and corporations and individuals are just going to sit by and just, let the leader of the free world, the USA, just stockpile a whole bunch of Bitcoin and do absolutely nothing? No chance. Game theory will be in full effect here. And what is game theory? Game theory is all about anticipating what your opponent will do, in this case, the US government, and then acting based on that supposition. Meaning, if everybody around the world, all these countries, China, Russia, corporations, Facebook, Google, individuals, chumps like you and me, think that the US government is going to be stockpiling 1 million Bitcoin, yeah, we're going to try to front run that. And the minute that the Bitcoin strategic reserve is in effect, Bitcoin would have reached its final form of legitimacy. You already have institutions like BlackRock, Michael Saylor, and MicroStrategy stockpiling Bitcoin, but the US government, the leader of the free world, the country with the reserve asset, is stockpiling 1 million Bitcoin? Yeah. Like, think about it for 1 second. There's only ever going to be 21 million coins. I know I keep repeating myself. I know I keep reiterating the same point, but I don't think people really understand that. Let's just say that there's 21 million Bitcoin. It's all available right now. That means only 21 million people around the world can own one full Bitcoin. And the last time I checked, there is a world population of about 8 billion people. And that doesn't even take into account all of the lost Bitcoin. There's about 3.8 million Bitcoin that is lost, gone forever. There's no recovery services. The Bitcoin is gone. Satoshi, the creator of Bitcoin, he or she or the entity has 1 million Bitcoin. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that Bitcoin is gone, never gonna be sold, never gonna be released. It's done. That's already 4.8 million Bitcoin that is just gone out of circulation. And then you have the institutions, like the MicroStrategy, like the BlackRocks. There's about 1 million and change Bitcoin that all institutions have. So we're already at like what, 5-6 million Bitcoin out of 21 million. So there's about 15 million Bitcoin that's still available and about 1 or 2 billion Bitcoin that's left to be mined. So I mean, yeah, it's a pretty scarce asset to say the least. We are at a pivotal juncture. We are at the stage where everybody is going to be racing to accumulate as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. And even if that means using their currency and printing money to oblivion to be able to buy the scarcest asset in the world, you best believe that nations around the world are going to be doing that. And if you don't think the leader of the free world, the country that has $36 trillion in debt, is not going to print a little bit of money to be able to stockpile as much Bitcoin as they can, because again, they want to acquire 1 million Bitcoin over a span of 5 years. So if you think they are not going to print money to be able to do that, you are sadly mistaken. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to do anything. I don't care if you buy Bitcoin. I don't care if you think I'm an idiot. I don't care if you think this video is just ridiculous. I don't care what you do. All I'm saying is, based on everything that I've said so far in this video, based on everything that I know, if I had money, any amount of money, I would be buying Bitcoin. I would be holding a small amount of Bitcoin. Even if it's 0.01% of my total net worth, I would want a piece of the pie before it is too late. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you are not too late. Yes, I know unit bias is going to kill you. You see Bitcoin at $100,000 US and you think it's just not for me. I missed the boat. I'm just gonna go invest my money into some meme coin. Forget unit bias. The good thing about Bitcoin is it allows you to buy fractions of a Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy 0.1 Bitcoin. You can buy 0.01 Bitcoin. You can buy 0.0001 Bitcoin. You can buy as much Bitcoin as you can afford. So as long as you hold a piece of the pie, you are already ahead of 99% of the population. And even if we're wrong and this thing goes to zero and it ends up being just this big failed science experiment,
we do not care.
You only put a small amount of money into Bitcoin and it didn't work out, oh well. But imagine the small chance that it is something, it does work out, and Bitcoin completely transforms the world. What are you gonna say then? Oh, I thought about buying it, but I thought it was a scam and it just didn't make sense, so I just said screw it. Or you thought, I think it's a scam and it's whatever, but you know what? Just in case, I'll just get a small amount, I'll set it, forget it, and I'll move on with my life. Which camp would you want to be in? Holding Bitcoin today, like I alluded to earlier in the video, is an insurance policy for an unknown tomorrow. So the same way you have life insurance policy, the same way you have car insurance, the same way you have health insurance, it is the same way. We all hate paying those monthly premiums, right? Oh, $100 here, $200 here. Why am I even paying this? I'm a good driver. I'm not going to get into an accident. Yeah, it's all fun and games until you get into an accident, you kill somebody, and you wish you had insurance. So again, we pay the small premiums today for an uncertain tomorrow because we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow or the next day or the next year or the next 10 years or the next 50 years. The future is uncertain. If you think this idea is stupid, the whole idea of a Bitcoin strategic reserve just makes absolutely no sense. Why the hell would a government be buying this magic internet money, this Bitcoin, this Bitcoin, this Bytecoin, it just sounds nonsensical. Let me know down below in the comment section if you share those same sentiments. And if you do hold Bitcoin, let me know down below in the comment section what you think the Bitcoin strategic reserve is going to do to Bitcoin. You think Bitcoin price is going to moon? You think it's going to be legitimized? Do you think more people, more entities, more institutions, and more nation states are going to follow suit? Or do you think they're going to continue to ignore it and just let US do what US does? Let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to get your thoughts on that. With all great technologies, everybody will be forced to use it one way or another. The same applied for the internet, the same applied for cars, the same applied for factories, the same applied for social media, Facebook, you name it. One way or another, society will be forced to go into the direction where the world is going. And in this case, it's Bitcoin. So why not take the path of least resistance to such an inevitability? All right, y'all, that's all I got. As always, I thank you for yet another opportunity to share my thoughts and my insights. I greatly appreciate it. If you found value in this video, let me know down below in the comment section. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video if you thought it was valuable. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps out the channel tremendously. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to the next one. BK out.